friends, for this special Mother's Day edition, we are going to be making apple turnovers. The ingredients you're going to need are sugar, butter, cinnamon, apples, dough sheets. You're also going to need a cutting board, a knife, a pan, a saucepan, a pastry brush, and a peeler. For the filling, I will be peeling and chopping up my apples and putting them in the pan. Now that our apples are ready, we're going to go ahead and put them on the stove on a medium to high heat. We're also going to be adding a half a tablespoon of cinnamon and a third of a cup of sugar. We're going to stir around our mixture and wait for it to boil. One way that you can tell that your apples are done is by taking your spoon, finding the biggest chunk, and trying to cut it in half. If you can slice through your apple, they are done. If they're still pretty hard, give them a couple more minutes. Make sure you stir them around so that they all are evenly coated with that syrup, and try again in a couple minutes. Now that my apples are done, I'm going to go ahead and turn off the heat. We're going to keep these on the stove so that they can cool down, and we're going to prep our pastry. To prep our dough sheets, we're going to need sugar and melted butter. You'll want to preheat your oven to 375 degrees while we prep our dough sheets. Now that I've gotten the dough sheet out of the tube, I'm going to unroll it, being very careful not to tear any of the dough. And we want to lay it out flat. So you have a couple options when you're creating your turnover. You could do one giant turnover with the entire dough sheet, or you can cut it up into smaller pieces and make smaller ones. I'm going to go ahead and cut mine into 4 pieces so that I can make 4 turnovers. So with my pastry brush, I'm going to take some of my melted butter and I'm going to brush the butter on each of my dough sheets. By now my mixture of apples should be cooled down, so I'm going to go ahead and grab those and we can start spooning them into our little turnovers. I've gone ahead and transferred my dough sheets onto my baking sheet. It has tin foil and spray oil so that it doesn't stick. This next part can be pretty messy, so I want to make sure that I just leave everything on my sheet. I'm going to start by placing about 1 spoonful of my apple mixture onto each of my dough sheets. Next, I'm going to take each of my dough sheets and I'm going to fold them in half. And kind of squish out the apples so they're a little bit more even. And I'm going to space them out a bit, because they will get a little bit bigger. Next, I'm going to brush some butter over the top. And with my remaining sugar, I'm going to sprinkle sugar on top of each of the turnovers. With your knife, you can cut or poke little holes or slits in each of the turnovers to help the steam escape as they bake. And then lastly, I'm going to pinch the ends together. You can also use a fork, just so that none of the delicious filling escapes. Now that we are all done preparing our turnovers, we're going to go ahead and set them in the oven, again on 375 degrees for about 10 to 15 minutes. You'll know that they're done because they'll have a nice golden top. For breakfast, I like to pair these apple turnovers with a cup of coffee. But for dessert, they go great with a scoop of ice cream. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. Stay tuned for more fun crafts.